In any religious gathering or spiritual gathering, you will have this question come in some form or the other. This is called the problem of evil. The problem of evil. And it takes the form that, suppose God exists, all loving, all powerful God. How could that kind of a God permit so much evil, so much actual suffering and unhappiness in this world? How is that possible? Isn't that an argument against the existence of God? The fact is that there's a lot of suffering in the world. There's a lot that's wrong with the world and always has been. Sometimes it gets worse. And doesn't that show that there can't be a God? So this is one form of the argument. Another form is, he's not asking that. Another form of that question is, here is the situation. And now with all our spirituality, all our techniques and all, what can we do about it? What's your take on this and what can we do about it? That's closer to the question that Greg asked. Okay. Notice, evil, suffering, is of two kinds, natural and human. This is straight out of an ethics philosophy, introductory ethics book. So now, natural and human. You talked about the human behavior causing evil. But there's also natural evil. When a lion catches a deer and eats it, it's food for the lion. But it is genuine suffering for the deer. Even when a lizard catches a fly, you can see the fly struggling. It's genuine suffering. Suffering seems to be built into the very nature of nature. So many things in human life include suffering. In life itself seems to thrive on suffering, on pain. And if you can even make everybody perfect, that natural suffering will not go away. There could be volcanic explosions, there could be so many things like earthquakes and stuff, or just the natural food cycle. That will cause pain, that will cause suffering. So, what's your take on this? I'll give an answer, or wait for it, I'll give you 24 answers. But before that, the real answer. The real answer is always, I feel, one student goes to another student and asks about, what does your spiritual master say about suffering in the world, about evil in the world, about suffering of humanity? What is the explanation for the suffering of beings in this world? And the second student replied to the first one, oh, my master hasn't talked about it. He's too busy helping people. So that's the first response to suffering. We must be up there and trying to help. I often say, what is the response of your philosophy, of your order, of your religion to suffering? And I always show them I speak about the annual report of the Ramakrishna Math and Mission, our parent organization in India, which is very well known for relief in times of disaster, of floods or famine or whatever, earthquakes. It is famous for its schools and hospitals and dispensaries. The millions of patients who are getting treated, the hundreds of thousands of students who are getting an education, and so on and so forth. So that's the first answer to your question, that yes, religion, not just us, all religion, most of it at least, it responds to human suffering by trying to alleviate human suffering. But note, it's not a solution. Even by responding to human suffering, you may help some people, you may lessen the suffering at some point. You can't solve even one person's problems forever. And you can't really, solve suffering across the world. It's always been there. And always, unfortunately, will be there. So why? Still the question remains, why? Because if God exists. So what are the answers to this question? I found a book, I can recommend it to you. The Problem of Evil in Indian Thought by Arthur Herman. He was a professor of Indian philosophy at the University of Hawaii. Problem of Evil in Indian Thought. And he hasn't restricted himself to Indian thought. He has scanned the religions and philosophies and of the world, literature of the world, and come up with 24 answers to this question. 24 answers. I will not give you all the 24 answers. It'll go on till the evening and it'll take a whole course. Each of those answers can be a chapter in a book on ethics. But an example, a couple of examples. One is called the character building theodicy. What does that mean? It means what it sounds like. Suffering makes us stronger. So the struggle makes us stronger. The classic example of the man who saw a larva trying to struggle out of the caterpillar, trying to struggle out of its cocoon. And he wanted to help the new butterfly. So it was struggling so much. So he carefully scraped away the cocoon and released the butterfly. The butterfly couldn't fly. It seems that struggle of pushing apart the cocoon is an important thing for it to activate its wings. The app must be activated, flying app. But if you release it and spare it the suffering, now it can't fly and it'll die. So that's an example. What there's a saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So this is one side of that argument, that character building, it builds up strength. But immediately you can see counter arguments. There are a lot of examples of suffering. A child is born malnourished and dies. How did it become stronger? A little baby deer is eaten up by a hyena. How did it become stronger? It didn't. It just suffered and died. So it's not a good solution. I mean, it's one kind of solution. Similarly, there are many others. Best possible world hypothesis. This is another answer. You're saying God has done a bad job of creating this world. Well, it's quite possible that all other possible worlds are worse than this one. The best job that God could get, the least kind of suffering is this world. Because if you try to create another world like this, it'll have more suffering than this. Of course, you can play it the other way around. An evil God. God who is all powerful but not all good. In that case, it's understandable. Why is suffering there? Because God wants it. But then God is bad. Yes, God is bad. And good. Both. Or you can go down the Buddhist way or the Jain way and say suffering is the nature of things. You remove God from the scene altogether. God has nothing to do with it. This is nature, and suffering is built into the very structure of nature. Your goal should be to transcend suffering yourself and help others to do so. What was the Buddha's answer to this question? It is the first noble truth of Buddhism. Suffering, all is suffering. Dukkha. Why? Why? What do you mean it's built into the very structure of nature? He says, notice everything in this world is transient. Everything changes. So, anityam, anityam, sarvam anityam. Impermanent, indeed, all is impermanent. Second, it's not only impermanent. I mean, I can understand if it's impermanent. If the cookie is impermanent, it's good. Who wants an eternal cookie? A biscuit. So you can, if it lasts for a few seconds in my mouth, it's good enough. I don't want to chew on an eternal biscuit. So, no, the Buddha says it's not even temporary. It is momentary. Kshanikam, sarvam kshanikam. It doesn't even last for a period of time. It arises and passes away in a flash. And third, it is empty. It has no intrinsic existence. Everything in nature. Shunyam, sarvam shunyam. Empty, indeed, all is emptiness. And you bring them together. Transient, all is transience. Momentary, all is momentary. Empty, all is empty. Therefore, dukkham, sarvam dukkham. Suffering, all is suffering. Or someone might say, we are not really suffering, but things are unsatisfactory. All right, unsatisfactory, all is unsatisfactory. So built into the nature of things. Now, what does Advaita Vedanta say? The long story short, Vivekananda claimed that the basis of all ethics is this Advaitic insight that we are all one consciousness. We'll see more of that tomorrow. Right now, we have just analyzed ourselves into I am awareness. I am the witness consciousness. But if I am the witness consciousness, what are you? You're also the witness consciousness. Because the way we regard ourselves, we'll regard the others that way also. If I think I'm a body, I'll see you as bodies. If I think I'm a person, which we mostly do, we see others as persons. If we think of ourselves and see ourselves as witness consciousness, we will see everybody as witness consciousness. Just that you know and the rest of us don't know it. That's all. But we are exactly the same as you. That's why a truly enlightened person will never be proud or arrogant. Arrogance means I see myself as different from you, better than you in some sense. An enlightened person will never have a superiority complex or an inferiority complex. I am exactly the same as the greatest of all spiritual beings, all the greatest beings who existed. You had extraordinary qualities, but those qualities are your body and mind qualities. As witness consciousness, you and I are the same reality. As the best and the worst of persons. Because we all are the same witness consciousness. Good and bad, where are they? Good and bad are in the mind, are in the character of the person. You say a good person, you mean a good character. You say a bad person, you mean a bad person. It doesn't make any sense to say good witness consciousness and bad witness consciousness. So, we are all one. How does this help? I'll relate it to what you just said and we'll wrap it up. Notice all our human misbehavior, a good deal of that is tribal in nature. It's a sense of identification, groupism. I, me, mine. The one who does that to the extreme is the most selfish person. The one who expands a little, family. The one who expands a little more, my community, my religion, my tribe, my nationality. Others are different. Whereas if you have this witness consciousness perspective, you will realize nobody is different from you. No human being, no matter what their skin color, what their gender, race, none of them are different from you. Not only they're the same as you, they are literally you. We'll see witness consciousness tomorrow is the one in all beings. That we'll see tomorrow. They literally are you. You can't distinguish between them and yourself. Only the bodies are different and personalities are different. Their culture may be different. But as witness consciousness, you are the same, one and the same in all beings. That cuts at the root of tribalism. That cuts at the root of I and the other. You cannot other somebody else because you know that they are literally you. In that case, hatred is not possible. The enlightened one cannot hate anybody. Even people who misbehave with that enlightened one, who may want to hurt or consider themselves the enemy of that enlightened one. The enlightened one doesn't consider himself or herself to be the enemy of anybody and doesn't consider anybody to be the... I am the other person. How can I be my own enemy? Vivekananda says, why should I not cut the throat of my neighbor if it is to my advantage? Because the neighbor is you. You never actively destroy or harm yourself. People do, but in some perversity or some unhappiness. But in generally, we would always want to preserve ourselves. And that is extended to everybody in the universe. So we would not actively seek to harm others. And when others are being harmful and behaving as you said, we will know the clear difference between right and wrong. And we will seek to check them and bring them to the right path. Without any hatred, without any bitterness or anger towards them. Just as you would do to a beloved child who's gone astray. Yeah.